And it's kind of crazy because like a year ago, I was making a video about my CBR being gone. Unfortunately, the CBR wasn't coming back because somebody stole it. So then we got the S1000. But now a year later, I don't have the S1000. Somebody else took that. Except for it's just the shop. It's just the shop. They're fixing it. Alright, so as some of you know, some of you have seen some of my posts on my other social media platforms, and obviously I made something here on YouTube as well about the S1000rr being down. Obviously, it is not in the garage right now, unfortunately. So I just wanted to make a quick video to kind of explain what was happening and why it's in the shop. That way, if you're kind of experiencing the same issues, you kind of know what to expect. And obviously, I like to provide full transparency when it comes to owning this particular bike, like I've done since day one. And a lot of you have been following the 2021 S1000rr that I got here almost a year now that I've had the bike, and it's been a fantastic bike. Just about a little over 8,000 miles now, so no big complaints other than the fact that the bike's in the shop now, and I'm not quite sure when I'm gonna get it back. But let's back up just a little bit. Back in December, we did a giant like Christmas ride, right? So every single year we do this Christmas ride, Bay Area Riders, we get a bunch of other groups kind of involved in it and stuff, and it's a good time. So of course I had the S1000, and that's what I had the GoPro on, that's what I was filming from, and everything was going good until about the last leg of the ride. As we're going down the interstate, we're not really going that fast, so I'm cruising at about third gear, maybe doing like 50 miles an hour, possibly something like that. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. And then out of nowhere, my bike just loses power. It was as if like, it almost felt like the fuel pump just cut out. Like the fuel pump, it was like a fuel pump issue is what it felt like. Although there was no stuttering or nothing, I had no throttle, I'd give it gas and just nothing would happen. So anyway, I pull off to the side, let people pass. As I pull off, I'm able to put the bike in neutral. It starts right back up as if nothing happened. So I didn't really know if it was just a fluke or what the deal was. So anyway, I get back on the bike, it runs, it's fine. I'm a little worried at this point, so I kind of stay out of the group of people just in case it decides to die again on me. But we go to our next stop, which is a gas station. I get to the gas station, pulls in just fine. I pull up to a pump, and then I just kind of like rev it a little bit. I don't know, just try to see if it's gonna rev up or what the hell it's gonna do. And it was kind of stuttering a little bit, so I turned the bike off, waited about 5 minutes, got back on the bike, started just fine, went up and down the road by myself real quick just to see what it would do. And it didn't give me any issues. So then I just decided to go on with the ride like we planned on doing anyway. And then once we left that spot, we were gonna go to another location to hand out more toys to the children. And as I'm coming up to a red light, the bike starts acting up again. It starts wanting to die, and I have to keep on the throttle just to keep the thing alive. And then at one point, I'd give it throttle and it didn't do anything. It would just sit there almost at a very low idle and then eventually die. At that point, I decided to take the bike home, hoping to get it home before the bike just completely gave out on me. I was able to get the bike home. I ended up swapping bikes so we could complete the entire ride. So thankfully, I have the Honda Magna 750, the 98, which is all reliable. So I grabbed that, finished the ride. And then later that day, I came home. The bike had been sitting for probably 4 or 5 hours by the time I got home. I jumped on the bike again, the S1000, I jumped on it, went for a ride, and everything was fine. I could not get it to do what it was doing. It just ran perfectly like it was supposed to, so it was really weird. And then a couple days after that, I decided to go for a ride and do the exact same route that we did for the Christmas ride, and again, could not get the bike to duplicate the issue whatsoever. So I just chalked it up as just being a fluke for that day. I didn't really know what to do because I could not get the bike to act up ever again. I went on multiple rides since December, you know, and it was fine. Like there was no issues with the bike whatsoever. It ran perfectly. And that was until I actually went up to the shop to buy a new rear cowl for the bike. As I'm leaving the dealership on a Saturday morning, it started acting up again. And thankfully, I was at the shop when it was doing this, so I was able to run inside, throw the keys to the tech, Bo over at Eurocycles. I'm like, Bo, take this thing for a ride and tell me what it's doing. So anyway, he takes the bike up the road for a minute, comes back, and he's like, yeah, something's not right here. So everything that I was explaining to him, he was able to finally experience it firsthand. So it's always a blessing when your tech can actually experience issues that you're having. because in my case, I couldn't get it to do it again. So it was hard to be able to show him what it was doing. So basically what it was doing is it wasn't really idling terrible. It was a little bit off, but not terrible. Nothing that would cause alarm or anything like that. But the big issue that I was having was that when you get on the throttle, there was like nothing there. It would just kind of raise up. Those RPMs would kind of come up, and not like it's supposed to. So my big concern as I was leaving the dealership that day, and the reason why I was like, I'm not taking this thing home with me, is that anytime I tried to jump into traffic, I couldn't because there was no throttle, or I didn't know if the throttle was actually going to work. I didn't know if the bike was going to cut off or if I was going to be able to jump into traffic. It was just a very, very unsafe situation. So I ended up leaving the bike there. So Bo and I talked about it. He's like, and he's seen this before because this is a common issue on the K67. And basically what's happening is the coil packs, or the coils that are in there, are bad. There's 4 of them. So they're gonna replace the coils. That's all under warranty. So if you have the K67, I can't remember exactly what the BMW warranty is, but obviously at my bike I've only had for a year, so it still falls under that factory warranty. And then aside from the coils, the issue that I was having with the throttle, it's just not happening, like nothing happening as I'm trying to get on the throttle, is the actual throttle assembly. And so to my understanding, they're gonna replace the entire throttle assembly up on the handlebars, which is also covered under warranty. So while it does kind of suck, thankfully I still have a couple other bikes that I can ride until I get the S1000 back. Honestly, I love riding the ground probably more than the S1000 at this point. It's just so much fun. But I don't really know when the S1000 is going to be done. I don't have a time frame on that at this point in time. As we all know, with all the whatever that's been going on in the world the past couple of years, trying to get things, especially electronics and stuff like that, it's been very difficult. So there's been delays. I mean, our S1000s, they've been delayed for how many months? How many people put a deposit down and it took a year plus just to get a bike? The parts are kind of the same situation, unfortunately. So as I'm making this video, this is about a week after I dropped the bike off, or they took the bike in. So I'm probably going to talk to them tomorrow and try to get an update as to when I'll actually get the parts in so that they can fix it and get the bike back to me. But I can't thank Eurocycles enough, honestly. They're my local shop here in Tampa. They've been great since the day I signed the paperwork on the bike. I mean, they've been wonderful. So I trust them, and hopefully you have a shop near you that you can trust as well, as much as I trust my guys. So if you're having similar issues to this, I can probably imagine that it's going to be those coils, and it's going to be that throttle assembly. I guess those are just 2 items, and to my understanding they're actually 2 different part numbers. So they determined what the issue was. So if you have a 22, obviously there's not newer at this point, but 22 and up, they're going to have those issues fixed. They've resolved it with new parts, and you're not going to have that issue. But if you have the 19, 20, 21, you have, you know, unfortunately there's potential to run into this issue. So but anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll keep you guys posted as soon as I get some more information on the bike and when we get it back. So I already miss her. We'll have her back soon.